And joining us now from the Connecticut DMV is the Commissioner of Motor Vehicles, Tony Guerrera. And always good to see you here on the program.
Great to see you, Dennis.
Let's
How's
talk
everything?
Everything's good. Everything's good. Last week we had the state police on, and they're still talking about all these reckless speeders. And I know you had addressed that once before. And it seems the problem's getting worse.
It is. We've noticed that over the last probably 6 months that we're seeing more fatalities, more accidents. And the dialogue is getting more and more talked about because how do we stop this? And I think we're working with different agencies like the state police, DOT, ourselves, and even public safety and education. We're talking about, do we have more education out there?
You talk about education. Obviously, these young drivers who are 15 years old and studying driving, they have to be taught, you know, that reckless driving, of course, is terrible.
It is. But Dennis, I mean, let's put things in perspective, too. The cars today are more and more difficult to me. And that's my era and maybe your era. But the technology in these vehicles, I think, are distracting the drivers, whether you're a young person or an older person or a middle-aged person.
Well, there's Apple CarPlay and there's this, and you can really put the car on you know, this adaptive cruise control, things like that. So you don't even have to really pay that much attention to the pedals. And all. It's just, I don't know.
And look at the BMWs now, what they have.
Yeah.
You just use your finger to turn up the volume, turn it down, to turn it off. And what if it doesn't work? That's how people are getting distracted. And next thing you know, their eyes are off the road and an accident occurs.
So you're recommending that people go out and buy a 1960 Chrysler? I'm just kidding. Let's talk a little bit about AAA and licenses. A lot of people, they don't go to the DMV. They want to go to the AAA, but there's some changes in that. Tell me about that.
There are some good changes, in fact. And thank you for asking that question, Dennis. We're happy to say that we are partnering again with AAA Northeast, which is different than AAA. There's a AAA and there's AAA Northeast, which covers Danbury, Fairfield, and Norwalk. And those 3 branches will be opening up where they'll do licensing and some other DMV transactions to help customers in those areas.
And so does it work the same way? You just go and you can get your first license, or do you have to get your first license at the DMV?
Well, no, you can get, if you're a new driver, you get it at DMV. After that, you can get your renewals.
Talking renewals.
All renewals can be done now at these locations.
How long is a license good for in Connecticut these days?
It's up to 8 years now.
8 years.
And sometimes even up now, you got to skip a trip, so that can even go even longer. So.
Is it sort of on your own to know when your license is due, or do you get something in the mail?
You usually get something in the mail, but a lot of people do know when their license is about to expire. Rarely do we have a lot of people coming in saying that, you know, my license has been expired for a year or 2 months or 3 months. Usually it's within 2 or 3 days they said, I got to get in there. So it's great to have companies like AAA and AAA Northeast out there helping us out.
And talking about teen drivers, and you know, we're going to talk about teen driving safety, and there's a video program that you're encouraging teens to get involved in. Tell me about that.
Yeah, we did a video with myself and also, you know, professional actors out there to talk about the rules of the road, the safety of the road, and also what they need to do to make sure that they understand when they get behind the wheel what can be done and not to be speeding or taking their eyes off the road to cause some serious accidents out there.
And these are the things you talk about for Teen Driver Safety Week?
All the time.
Okay.
Teen Drive Safety Week is usually, because as you know, back in the early 2000s, under Governor Rell at the time, we had an influx of fatalities, accidents, put a whole set of new laws on the books in regards to curfews, who could be in the car and so forth. And now we're looking at those all over again, Dennis, to be quite honest with you.
You know, it's also School Bus Safety Week coming up. And so what kind of things do you want to stress there?
We talk about parents and when they put their child on the school bus. We also talk to the school bus drivers, what they could be doing, but also more importantly are the drivers when they see the school bus, when they see the lights on, when they see the arm come out. Don't try to run around the arm. Don't do any of that. Please take, I know sometimes it gets frustrating because you might be late for work or late for an event, but again, these are children that are running out to the school bus, and that's why we have to be very, very cautious. And, you know, do what we have to do to make sure we don't run those.
And those red arms that come out save lives because they didn't have them when we were kids.
No, they don't.
That's a relatively modern
Yeah, probably over the last 10 years now we're seeing more and more.
Yeah, I always tell people, you know, if you're in a hurry in the morning, you're going to run into school buses.
Absolutely.
So just leave earlier.
Yeah.
You know, put some extra time into your day. What are the kind of things do we stress with school bus safety?
Well, again, what we talked about, but also talking to the parents too a little bit, that when their child goes on a school bus, to sit in the seat, act like you were, if you were your father or mother were driving the car, put your, you know, sit down, don't distract the driver of the bus, listen to the driver of the bus, and therefore he doesn't get distracted, so that therefore we have a smooth trip to school and back to home.
Tony Guerrera, he is the commissioner of the Connecticut DMV. Best of luck with everything, and keep those kids and schools safe.
You got it.
All
Good
right.
seeing you.
Good to see you. And when we come back, the Connecticut Forum.